Students, today we are going to see the topic impact of climate change in India. Now, why there is a climate change? This is because of increasing in the industrialization. This industrialization increase the energy demand. It also increases the pollution and global warming, and all this leads to the climate change. Now, what is this global warming? Global warming is increase in the average temperature of the Earth's surface. It has been seen that the average temperature increase is 0.74 to 0.18 degrees Celsius till 2005, and it is expected that in 21st century this average temperature will increase by 1.1 to 6.4 degrees Celsius. But today, if you just see the table, you will find that the average temperature has been increased by 2 degrees Celsius, and this is all because of man-made, and which increases the greenhouse gases or greenhouse effect. So what is this greenhouse gases or greenhouse effect? It is a gas that absorbs or emits the radiation energy within the thermal infrared range, and this energy emission warm up the planet's surface and lower atmosphere. Now, what are the gases, greenhouse gases? The major greenhouse gases are water vapor, which has the percentage of 36 to 70%, as you can see on the screen. Then CO2 9 to 26%, methane 4 to 9%, and ozone 3 to 7%. Now, if you just see that there is need of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, because the greenhouse gases affects the warming up to 33 degrees Celsius, without which the earth would be inhabitable. So there is need of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, but if it increases beyond that, definitely it will affect the atmosphere. So there is need of controlling the greenhouse gases. Now, if you just see that, who is the responsible for increasing in these greenhouse gases? Obviously it is human. So what are these man-made greenhouse gases or greenhouse effect? So the human induced anthropogenic greenhouse gases emissions from the activities such as energy production from fossil fuel, industrial activities, transportation, construction, agriculture, land use change, and deforestation. So these are some of the examples the greenhouse gas effect made by the human. So as you can see on the screen, what is the potential of the greenhouse gases in global warming? So you can just see that of a CO2, methane, and N2O, then hydrofluorocarbon, perfluorocarbon, sulfur, hexafluoride, and so on. And all these greenhouse gases accounts in terms of their CO2 equivalent. So what is the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere? It is 385 ppm by volume, and it will increase to 541 to 970 ppm by 2100. So this is what definitely, as you can see today, this CO2 content in the atmosphere in India is around 1 ton CO2 equivalent. So the next point is attribute and expected effects of greenhouse gases. So what will be the effect if the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere increases? First, it will increase the surface temperature of the earth, which changes the which will have the border changes such as glacier retreat. That is slowly, glacier is what slowly melting mass of ice. Retreat is the moving away, so definitely that will lead to flooding and so on. Then Arctic shrinkage we have, then sea level rise, as what I rightly said now, then flooding and drought. There will be flooding in some part, there will be drought in some part, as we have faced this flooding this year only. Then extreme changes in the weather events, we are facing this problem. As you can see that the season has the month of the season has been changed, that is of rainy winter summer season. So this effect is what we are feeling today. Then effects on agriculture yields, obviously this effect is also faced by the farmers today. Then addition of new trade routes, reduced summer stream flows, species extinctions. So there definitely some of the species are getting vanished because of this greenhouse gases effect. And increase in the range of disease vectors. Rightly now we are facing the corona, it is the effect of the greenhouse gases only, we can say. So the next is what point is the carbon footprint. So what is this carbon footprint? It is the measure of all greenhouse gases we individually produced and has a unit of tons or kgs of CO2 equivalent. So there are two types of carbon footprints, primary footprints and secondary footprints. Primary footprints are what? Which are directly emitted by us, such as burning of the fossil fuel, transportation, that is the burning of fossil fuel for the energy generation, then using the transportation, all this leads to the CO2 emission, and it is the primary footprints. What is the secondary footprints? It is the indirect CO2 emissions, such as the manufacturers, that is the industry. The what we can say is that the more we buy, the more emission will be caused on our behalf. So the next point is Kyoto Protocol. What is this Kyoto Protocol? There was a third conference of parties, what we called it as a COP, held on 11th December 1997 in Kyoto, Japan. That's why it is called as a Kyoto Protocol. There was the international agreement on 16th Feb 2005, which links to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, what we called it as UNFCCC. So the major feature of the Kyoto Protocol is reducing greenhouse gases emissions, and this includes the European Union also. The India joined this Kyoto Protocol on August 2002. And what is this Kyoto Protocol? They have led to the Kyoto mechanism. This includes the emission trading known as the carbon market, clean development mechanism, and joint implementation. So this is the Kyoto mechanism developed in the Kyoto Protocol. And in short, what is the Indian scenario of climate change? If you just see, as I told you initially, that CO2 emission by India is 1 ton in 2005, and definitely it has been increased, but there is no any much increase by India, and it is 11 ton by the other developing countries, and this is expected to rise to 60% in the year 2015. We are in 2020, already it has been increased to the 60%. So in short, I have told you about the climate change in India, and the notes are already provided to you on WhatsApp. So you can just go through these particular notes for the detail, and if you have any difficulties, you can contact me. Thank you. Take care.